Joe from NYC Fragrances. Today I'm going to bring you my top 10 for the winter. I'm going to start off with Histoires de Parfums Irreverent from the Emparte line. Now this one I came across at an event I was at recently, and I have to say it draws a very close similarity to Andy Tauer's Blow of the Desert Americain. It has that very similar incensey vibe mixed with the sandalwood. You have amber, you have bergamot, you got lavender. It really makes for a nice scent. This one's coming in at number 10. Just briefly, let me explain how my rating system's working here. My rating system is basically these 10 fragrances I have bottles of in my collection that I've picked as my 10 that I enjoy the most for the winter. Then I gave them my own personal ratings, and I used Fragrantica ratings as well. I combined the two ratings, and based on the combination of the two ratings, that's how they were ranked. Because basically from 1 through 10, or all of these 10, I pretty much like on a very close level. So it was hard to put them from 1 through 10 or give them an order. So I figured out a way to do that sort of scientifically, let's say. Okay, so now that I got that out of the way. So now remember again, this is in my collection. This doesn't mean that these are the greatest 10 in the world. They are my 10 for the winter, and they are all worth checking out as far as I am concerned, and in my opinion. So, moving on. Number 9, in the house of Viktor and Rolf, we have SpiceBomb Extreme. SpiceBomb Extreme has lavender with tart spices. Then you get the tobacco and the subtle vanilla. We all know and love the Spice Bombs. It's a very familiar fragrance in the community. Most people favor the Spice Bomb. I like the Extreme. It has a little more intensity to it. So I chose to get the Extreme version of it. But if you were to get the regular version, the regular Spice Bomb, it would work just as well as the Extreme. At number 9, I have, in the house of Santa Maria Novella, Tobacco Toscano. Tobacco Toscano was a fragrance I picked up in August while I was in Florence. I went to the Santa Maria Novella boutique, which blew me away. I felt like I was in a museum. It was just a beautiful, great experience. Anytime anybody goes to Florence who's into fragrances, you should definitely stop by the Santa Maria Novella shop and check it out. So as I was in there, I was almost ready to buy another citrus fragrance. And then I decided, you know what, it was time for a change. Too many citruses already in the collection, let me get something different. So I picked Tobacco Toscano. Tobacco Toscano is a very easy to wear tobacco. It's not a very raw tobacco, it's a Swedish tobacco. It's very subtle, very easy to wear. And it lasts very well on my skin, personally. As far as getting it, here in the States, Lucky Scent does carry Santa Maria Novella, so that would be one place where you'd be able to pick it up. Moving along to number 7, we have from the house of imaginary authors, Memoirs of a Trespasser. Now here in Memoirs, we have a great combination of benzoin and Madagascar vanilla. That gives it the beautiful sweet up front. Then it's mixed with the Gaiac wood, and then there's the fantasy note of oak barrels, which I believe is what gives it its smokiness, because what they usually do with the oak barrels, if they use them to make scotch or bourbon, they flash fire them, and it creates a smokiness inside the oak barrel, which is something that gives you that smoky essence in your scotch and your bourbon. At number 6, from the house of Joe Malone, we have Oud Bergamot. Oud Bergamot, to me, just stands out as a pure masculine scent. It is very sophisticated. It's clean. It gives me that sense of being dressed up and being in a suit. And Joe Malone also has its opportunities for layering, which is always good to have. and they are created with the idea of layering fragrances, which I have layered this one before, because I also have English Oak and Hazelnut from Jo Malone, which is the combination that they expect you to layer the two fragrances with. This has like an orange citrus combination to make the oud not so much a very animalic oud, it's a very easy oud, to the degree that you might not even think it's oud. It's almost just like a woody note, which for the people that are not big fans of oud, this would be something with oud that you would like to get your hands on. Jo Malone Oud Bergamot, my number 6. And number 5, from probably my favorite house at the moment, we have Parfums de Marly, Oajan. Oajan is described by many as apple crumb pie, and apple pie. That probably comes from the cinnamon and honey combination that's in it. It dries down to this beautiful powdery note that lasts and lasts and lasts, as most Parfums de Marly fragrances do. So it makes for a really nice fragrance. Number 5, Oajan from Parfums de Marly. My number 4, from the house of Maison Margiela's replica line, we have By the Fireplace. By the Fireplace, I have it at number 4 based on my personal rating, based on the Fragrantica rating. Like I said, from 1 to 10, it was hard to put him in position. This could very easily be number 1 for me in the winter, because I just love this fragrance. The roasted chestnut mixed with the guaiac wood and the vanilla, and then you get this almost toasted marshmallow effect. Even though there is no marshmallow note, it just makes for a very beautiful fragrance, one that everybody should at least get their nose on and try, if not buy, by Maison Margiela's replica line, By the Fireplace. Definitely check it out. At number 3, I have a fragrance that has a little interesting backstory to it. I was in Neiman Marcus. I was on my way out of the store, and the Lalique representative stops me. Just as a brief, the fragrance itself is Lalique Or Intemporel, right? So the representative stops me and goes through this whole spiel and tells me that in order to smell it and get the full effect of this fragrance, it needs to be sprayed on the back of your pinky. So I entertained him and let him do that, and you know what? It was amazing, because I actually did enjoy the fragrance pretty much the rest of the day, sniffing it on the back of my pinky. Now, unfortunately, I didn't buy it that day, because when I asked how much they were selling it for, it was a lot more than I was willing to pay for it. Come to find out, I can get it at the discount sites for about 65% off of what they wanted in Neiman Marcus. So now it's in my collection. And I'm going to link that and everything else that I can link that I'm talking about today, so that you can get these same prices and discounts and find all the fragrances that I'm talking about today. So, down to the last 2. What could they be? Well, at number 2, another house that I have recently discovered, fallen in love with, and I have tried many fragrances from this house, but this one stood out the most, and I ended up picking it up. This is from the house of Profvmvm Roma, and it is Confetto. Confetto to me is basically, if you are familiar with Parfums de Marly Pegasus, very, very similar, except that Confetto gives you this slight anise touch to it, which gives it a little bit of a subtle difference from Pegasus, which I find to be a little more interesting. Not that I don't like Pegasus, because Parfums de Marly, for me, produces some of the best fragrances in the world. This just had something in it that I gravitated towards, and I had to have it, and I picked it up, and I am thoroughly enjoying this one when I get the occasion to wear it. And last but not least, my number 1 for the winter. It's a woody, spicy fragrance, and the second installment from the house of Parfums de Marly, and that is Herod. Herod is a beautiful tobacco fragrance with cinnamon and vanilla, and the combination, and you get this incensey vibe, and it just lasts all day. This is a beast. It is projecting all day long. It smells great off my skin. It's just one of those fragrances that I had to have from the house. I had to have it, I got it, and it's my number one for the winter. So, with all that, you may or may not agree with this top 10. It is my top 10 for the winter. If there are anything that you see that wasn't on this list that you'd like me to check out, please comment below. Remember to like and subscribe to my channel. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. And until next time, remember, if you smell good, you feel good. Have a nice day.